I will not lie to you, I did not see myself making it to this day. Hello, my name is Muthoni Gitau. Welcome to another episode of Just Doing Life, the podcast, a space where we explore all the parts of life that we do not like to say out loud. After all, we are all just winging it. We made it! It's the first episode of 2024, and today is the first day of the year. Today is the 1st of January 2024, and it was so important for me to record this particular episode today because I will not lie to you, I did not see myself making it to this day. With the way 2023 was set up, I am actually shocked that I am still standing. I even told someone the miracle for me will be making it through 2023. And I guess a miracle happened because it's 2024 and here I am recording the first episode of 2024, which is basically episode 13 of the podcast. And by now it would have been so far, but you know what? I am in a space of letting go the things that have happened and being and accepting where I am right now and just being in the moment with everything that happened previously. Like a lot of things have happened in the last 3 months that's the reason why I'm like honestly very, very shocked that I was gonna say standing, but I'm sitting here at this moment. So this first episode I wanted to do, actually it's going to be 2 episodes. So this week and next week we'll be talking about change, new beginnings, because for people who are watching on YouTube, if you're interested in our visual episodes, they are available on YouTube. The page or channel is Just Doing Life. You can tell I'm in a new location because I moved. I moved and it's been hectic. It's been insane. I'm really excited for the new space that I'm in. And if you're listening, let me just paint you a picture. I am in a really small room with a desk in front of me and a beautiful, beautiful view. Even the guys who are watching can't see the view. It's a beautiful, beautiful view, and I'm seeing nothing but forest, a huge forest. I'm seeing trees. I can hear birds. I am still in a Gishagi because Gishagi life chose me. I did not choose this life. It chose me. And I'm really loving the space I'm in. It's taken a while for me to get into the space and feel into it, but I'm excited for this new change and to see where it's going to lead. One thing about me, I have never been scared about change. So in this episode, I want to talk about the new change, and also I want to strengthen my commitment to myself this year. That's like one of my big goals. One of the biggest goals that I have this year is strengthening my commitment to myself and welcoming change. So when it comes to change, I've never been shy about it. I've never been scared of change. Okay, change can be scary. Let me not use the word scared. Change in itself is scary because it pushes you to exit a place that you're either comfortable with, familiar with, and tosses you into the unknown. And I feel like also growth can be found in the unknown. So that's the part of me that I look at when I'm experiencing change. It's getting uncomfortable in the newness and trying to figure out what excitement will come out of the new space or the newness of the situation, the space, whatever it may be. So I was auditing my life last year. There's like towards, let's just say the second half of 2023 came with a lot of loss for me. A lot of loss in terms of I felt loss financially, a lot of loss financially. There was a lot of loss in loved ones. There was a lot of loss in peace. I was struggling a lot in terms of peace. I didn't feel peaceful. There was a lot of loss in terms of safety. I didn't feel safe at all. I was very, very anxious. and I didn't trust people around me. Like, I didn't have a lot of people I could trust, and most of the people that I could trust weren't near me. I wouldn't say I was scared for my life, but I was scared. Like, I was living a scared life, if that makes any sense. So when I was looking at my life at that point, I knew I needed a change. I didn't know what the change was going to be, but I knew I wanted a change. And the more I kept thinking about it, one of the things that kept coming up was I needed to move. This was like in sometime in October, because I remember that's when I started having a lot of conversations with people in my life that I trusted, and my friends, and I was trying to get them to tell me that my logic made sense. Like, when you know you want to do something, you know you will do it, but you want to know that it's not insane, that you're not making a rash decision, that you are not that you're not running, or like whatever it is. Like, you just want reassurance that what you're doing is what's right, I guess, or is the right thing. So I remember having so many phone calls with different people, from my mom to like my besties. I remember there's this one day I went for like a 6-hour walk. It wasn't a hike, a walk. And for like 2 hours, I was on the call with one of my really good friends, B, and I was like, I'm not insane, right? Like, this makes sense, right? It was like, I wanted to be so sure that the decision I was making made sense. And the decision was arrived at, and a lot of people were like, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, no, everyone I talked to was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then some other things transpired, and I still moved, but I didn't move the way I wanted to. There was a lot of chaos. It was really like my move ended up becoming very traumatizing, very emotional, very depleting. Let me tell you, when by the time like I was moving, I was feeling very defeated as a person. Like, I was so done with life. I will not lie to you. And that's the reason why I'm like sitting here today on the 1st of January 2024 is the miracle, because I was so done living. I was just like I'm just not here for it, okay? So then what I ended up doing is, the last couple of weeks of 2023, I was auditing my life. I got rid of all the things that I did not want. I did like a deep cleanse, a physical cleanse in terms of like my space. I got rid of anything and everything I did not need, anything that was broken, anything that was expired. Like, sometimes you keep things and you're like, you tell yourself you're going to fix it and use it or stuff like that. I just got rid of all of that. I went into my phone, got rid of all the apps that I don't use, went into my inbox, deleted thousands and thousands and thousands of spam emails. Basically, I did like a cleanse, like a deep cleanse, because I was like, I wanted to really get rid of the energy that was 2023, because if there's a year that has tested me beyond, like, I've had years, like I remember another year that was like just as bad as 2015, but 2023 was worse. And 2015 was the year that I actually attempted to take my own life. But like 2023 pushed me to new heights of darkness, if I may call it that, okay? But being able to sit here and talk about it, I'm still processing a lot of that stuff emotionally. I am still working towards getting to a safe mental space, a safe emotional space. But I feel like the journey has started. And so for this year I want to be obsessed with myself. I want to, and I know like at the beginning of 2021, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my year. I'm gonna do nothing but like whatever, like take myself on dates and do this and really focus on myself. And I did do that for a while until life got into the way. It got in the way because it's just like, hey, we have to make money. I had this huge project that I had to finish, and I was trying to see, okay, how can I work out this project to finish it really fast. So 2022, the beginning of 2022, I wanted to like really recommit to myself. And I remember that time it was like I was newly single. I was trying to figure out what single Muthoni looked like, what Muthoni liked. What did I like as a person? I was trying to rediscover myself. And I think I got a chance to do that. But then with time, work got in the way. With time, I became so busy that even when I would do things like the solo dates, I would be like, oh crap, I haven't done a solo date this month. What can I do? And it stopped being planned and thoughtful and became something that I was trying to just fulfill for the sake of fulfilling. So then at one point, I just stopped doing it altogether because it was no longer serving the purpose I needed it to serve. And in this case, the purpose with me doing the solo dating was, one, recommitting to myself, and two, learning to love myself. It was a point of I was trying to work towards falling in love with myself and building a relationship with myself. So this year I am going gang-ho on that front. I am planning elaborate dates. I'm going to be going on a solo date every single week, even when it's like the really small things. And I'll be having my weeks planned around my solo dates, not the other way around. So if it's like a simple thing, so like I would want to do like maybe one full day of solo dating in a month, like one big one. And the one big one will be focusing on all my love languages, where like I'll start, like for me, I know my love languages. My main one is receiving gifts. My second one is acts of service. And then after acts of service, then comes words of affirmation. And then the words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch like tie in together. Quality time is actually like my number 5. Physical touch number 4, words of affirmation number 3. But those 3 technically are like on the same level. But my big major ones are receiving gifts and acts of service. So my intention is, when I'm doing the solo dating as a way of recommitting to myself, I am going to be focusing on my love languages. That way I am loving myself the way I would receive love, if that makes sense. Then the other thing that I want to do is habits. When I was doing the audit, I was looking at habits that I feel, what word do I want to use? Help me in my self-sabotage, right? So I have certain habits that help me with my self-sabotage. One of those habits, which I think a lot of people have, is on the day you say you are going to wake up early, right? You actually end up waking up early, and then you spend the first 3-4 hours on your phone in bed. The other thing that I notice is over the weekends, when I'm like, I'm gonna sleep in, I'm going to get out of bed at like midday, and then when I get out of bed is when I'm like, oh my god, I wanted to do this, I wanted to also do that, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. So I looked at some of the habits that I use for self-sabotage, and I was like, cool, so we now know what they are and we know what we're doing. And then I also wrote, so there's this what is it called? It's a course, I guess. It's a program. It's a 12-week program that is about reconnecting with your creative self. It's called The Artist's Way. So you have to actively be doing stuff every single week to reconnect with your creative side. And one of the things is, every morning I have to wake up and write my morning pages before I do anything. I have to write 3 pages of like just a stream of consciousness. Whatever thoughts I have in my head, I have to write 3 pages every single morning, whether I'm in the mood for it or not. And even when I'm like, I don't even have anything to write, I don't know what to write, I can write that I don't know what to write until I fill up the 3 pages. And what I have noticed in doing that, like the past, because now I'm on week 3. For the past 3 weeks, for the past 2 weeks, because now we've just started week 3, is I had started this in October, and then life happened. I had done week 1, week 2. So instead of like jumping into week 3, I started afresh week 1. So it's a 12-week program, and each week you have to take yourself on an artist date. So for me, I was like, I'm not going to conflate the artist date and the solo date into one. No, so that means each week I have to do 2 dates. One is an artist date, which is me sitting down with my artist child and doing something to reconnect with my creativity. And then my solo date is me showing myself love in one of my love languages, or one of the main, or it depends, okay? So I can choose, is it like both? And the thing is, for both the solo dates and the artist date, they don't all have to be outside the house. Sometimes an artist date can be going for a walk for 20 minutes with no headphones or earphones, no phone in hand, just walking in nature, looking at trees, listening to the birds, and just spending time with my inner creative. So with this program, course, whatever we want to call it, it is helping me get back in touch with my creative side. The reason I felt that I needed this is like there's creative avenues of myself that I had abandoned, like writing, which is one of the things I really love. I really love writing. I really love poetry, but I had stopped completely. And the funny thing was, in doing the exercises, there's one that triggered a memory where you had to like go back and see the moments at which you abandoned certain things. And one was about writing the discovery of why I stopped acting, because I started out as a writer and an actor. And the reason I stopped acting was, for me, I stopped acting because I was trying to keep myself safe. Because the person who assaulted me was an actor. So I was like, to stay safe, I can just not be around groups of actors to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Then as a writer and a poet, I was writing a lot about my pain. I think I've shared this before. And I got tired of putting my pain on paper, especially because as a writer, like when you fall in love, you want to have a chance to write like poems and love stories about the person, or to the person, or for the person that you're with, your partner, your person. You want to express your love, be like, oh my God, the sun, whatever, kissing your skin, all that cool stuff. But then you find yourself in a space where you can't, because you're not experiencing those emotions, and you're experiencing a lot of pain. Because I am someone who I write a lot from experience, from observations, from the world around me. So it became my writing became a lot about my pain, because I was in a lot of pain, and I would put it down on paper, right? I would put my pain down on paper. And once in a while, when I would do this, actually, I used to think it was a form of me releasing the pain. But then the pain is still there. The reason I would get like tattoos and stuff and piercings, it was because I felt a lot of emotional pain, and I felt like I didn't have physical pain to match it. Because the problem with emotional pain is it's not seen. You don't see emotional pain. It's not visible. So sometimes you're like, oh, if I have actual physical pain as a reference point, I'm like, this being painful makes sense. This being painful makes sense. That's how I sort of started like seeking out physical pain to deal with my emotional pain. So when I was doing this exercise that morning, I was just like, wow. So for me, I thought I just stopped acting because he wasn't paying. But that's the reason I gave myself, because I know a lot of people I was working with at the time who are now like in big shows, and they still pursued the acting, and they've been in amazing projects, and you can see their growth. You like, for me, I didn't know where that came from. I see people I used to perform poetry with now doing amazing things, and writing about love. And it's just like, it gets to a point where you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that was the trigger for me. It was like a way of me trying to avoid. It's like, oh, this space is traumatizing, so I'm going to stay away from it. So now as I was doing my audits, and also I'm doing all these things, and these things are coming up, I'm realizing, oh, I really love writing, so I want to get back into writing. And what does that look like for me? And I was like, you know what, I'll go back to blogging. Also, I realized what happened with the reason I stopped blogging was because there's someone who was using my blog for evil. And by the time I was trying to get back into blogging, it had been tainted so much that the love for it had disappeared, because then there was that fear of, what if it happens again? What if someone else comes and steals my blog? What if, like all those fears. So I stopped blogging. And let me tell you, I used to run such a Takasafi. I think it's one of the best creations I have ever put out there. And it was born out of the fact that I was filling a gap. I was in a space where there weren't that many blogs actually, but there were blogs, and they were also focused on gossip. And for me, I was like, there's so many other amazing things happening in Nairobi. So my blog was all these other things, all these other cool things that were happening in Nairobi. So that's how that blog was born. It was born out of love, and then someone took that love and muddied it up. And now for me, I was just like, why are you tainting something that I love so much? So I abandoned it and left it, and pushed it to the side. So small things like that. So now reconnecting with that part of myself is like recommitting to those things. Like, do I want to read and write every day? And for me, like, now the writing is in journaling, and I'm also doing the morning pages as one of the exercises in the artist way. So the funny thing is, the other day, I was doing my morning pages, and then I had a brilliant idea. I think it's a brilliant idea for a film, and I am going to write that script. Like, so now the thing is, like, when you are doing that stream of consciousness thingy, is that it really helps you. It's like it clears your mind, and then you get to tap into the other parts of yourself. So that's the thing for me. Being comfortable in change. I don't think I've ever struggled with change that much. It's always like, for me, I think the things that I struggle with are things like rest. I struggle with asking for help, which I'm working on. I struggle with one of the things that I really, and it's something that came to me yesterday, I realized that I am always afraid of being a burden. And what I mean by that is, I've always had to figure my stuff out. I've always had to solve my issues, solve my problems, and figure my stuff by myself from when I was really young. So there's certain things that come from that are embedded in me, which I am trying to heal from and trying to change or work on, because I understand that it's a trauma response where like now that translates into not being able to ask for help, because for me that translates into being a burden, which is something I'm very scared of, right? I don't like feeling like I'm disturbing people. So even like in friendships, if I reach out to someone multiple times, sir, we're not going to do that. Okay, just sit there. Thank you. So Ziggy just joined us. But if I'm reaching out to someone, if I ask something, I usually even have like a rule. I'll ask 3 times, and then I'll never ever bring it up again. Something as small as like asking someone to like, hey, do you wanna come visit? If I ask once and then I bring it up a second time, a third time, I will never speak on it again. When it comes to even friendships, feeling like always the person who's reaching out or always the person starting conversations, it will get to a point where I'll be like, oh, am I a burden to this person? And then I'll be like, oh, maybe I should stop disturbing them. So, and I know that comes from how I was raised and how I grew up. And for me, that's how I view the world. And I understand it's a trauma response. So in auditing my life, I was able to see all these things and figure out the parts that I want to change and what changes I want in those parts. So not just basically the parts I want to change, but also what are the changes that are being made and how do I want to implement them? Which changes are going to be easier to come by and which ones are going to take a lot more time? And what does that look like as well? So one of the goals that I have, other than like the commitment to myself, it's like really forging a beautiful relationship with myself. I want to be so in love with myself. I want to be so in love with my body, so in love with my space, so in love with my own company. I want to be in love with every part that makes me me. And so there's like the solo dating, there's for me now like learning how do I self-sabotage, how do I get in my own way, and how do I fix that. So I think it's going to be like an interesting journey altogether. And I'm like in a new space. So also like my routines have changed, like coming up with healthier routines. What are those routines aimed at? And then like one of the other things I've done is I have started planning my day by the hour. Like each hour is planned out. And this again came from an exercise that I did that was called Where Does Your Time Go? And sometimes it's like it's so easy to be busy, but busy doing nothing, or busy but unproductive. So for me, it's like I'm also looking into productivity. How do I improve my productivity as I'm committing to myself? And then being able to plan out my time means I'm able to plan out time for my solo dates. That means I'm able to plan out time for my artist date without feeling like I should be doing something else. And that's the thing with me. One of the reasons I struggle with rest is sometimes, or like there was a realization actually that I felt like my worth came from working hard. So if I'm not working, I feel like I'm not being productive, or I am failing basically. So then when I would say let me take time to rest, I can sit down and then be like find a way to still sort of get some work done. I'll be like, let's sit down and like do a movie and enjoy some time, just relaxing, da da da. And then the entire time I'll be like, oh my God, I should be planning this, or I should be working on that. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I realize it's because I also don't know where my time goes. So if I have like a planned out time and I have time that's actually planned out for me to rest, I'll be like, yeah, it's time to rest. So what are we supposed to be doing right now? Oh, wait, resting. So doing that, I think is going to be helpful in terms of my productivity. And I think it's going to teach me how to rest, because I kind of need to learn how to do that. Another thing that I am working on is creating healthy boundaries. If there's something that has been tested in the last year, it had to be my boundaries. And even like when I would put up even actual physical boundaries and then people completely ignore them. Like, when you put up a fence and someone still comes and just pulls it apart and slides under it and walks in, and as in it was difficult. I won't lie. It was difficult. It was hard to deal with. And then trying to not be confrontational about it, because at the end of the day, like for instance, with something like that, it's like you still have to live next to these people. I felt like I felt like one, I was taken advantage of. That's for sure. And two, there was, when people move with a mentality of like this kagal, like what can she do? Or people move with that mentality of like, but you're one person, why do you need such a big house? Why do you need all this compound? Why do you need this? Why and now people feel like they can take boundaries get tested, and it was a lot. So I want to have healthy boundaries. The other thing that I'm doing this year that's about strengthening my commitment to myself, it is healing my traumas. I know I have so many traumas that I need to heal from. I have emotional traumas, I have financial traumas. Um, I need, like, the anxiety I have been dealing with. As in, I've been so anxious, and I'm like, I want to get that fixed. Like, learn to, like, heal from that, and then learn where it's coming from. Like, go to the root and figure out where it started from, and find a way to fix it. If that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying there's something wrong with me that needs fixing, or I need fixing, but these things are affecting my quality of life. I want to live an enjoyable life, and I can't do that when I'm constantly anxious, when depression is kicking my ass, I keep falling into depression. And I want to really heal my traumas and learn to cope with the things that I can't change in healthy ways. So that's another thing that I am being very intentional about this year. And what I'm doing, like, with all these things, is like I'm mapping out ways. So it's like, for instance, like with the traumas, like, how do I want to work on them? For instance, like, going to therapy, like seeing a therapist, having them help me through the journey, so I know that, one, I'm not doing it by myself. Interrogating my life, like writing things down, and being like, doing a complete audit, and being like, okay, for instance, like that thing of, this is how I self-sabotage. Okay, cool. What is the reward that I get from doing that? Okay, does this. Okay, cool. So what would I want instead? So there's been a lot. There's been a lot, is what I'm saying. But I feel like this is like a new journey for me, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It's a new path. And like, I think being in a new physical location is also going to help, because now this changes my routines, not just everyday routines, daily routines. It also changes my weekly routines. It changes, like, things. Sometimes I feel like the small changes do affect how we show up in life. Like now, one of the most exciting things is like, my house is always clean, and I can see it. In the previous house, I couldn't see the tidiness in the house because the house was a construction site. So I was living in a construction site, basically. So it'd be like, oh, I've done cleaning, I've done all this, I've done all that. But I turn my head, and there's a wall there that hasn't been painted. It's just like the cement, and so things like that. Or I have an incomplete project where one half of it is done, the other half hasn't been done yet, and my pieces are there. But now I'm like, I'm in a space where I'm like, I clean the house, and I'm like, oh my god, the house is so clean, and I see it. I see just how clean the house is. So I feel like the change in, like, physical location has also affected my mind. The fact that I can come sit here and look outside and see trees, the fact that the cats can go outside, and I don't have to worry or fear that a dog will chase them, other than at night, which my cats don't do outside at night like that. By 7:30, 8 p.m., they're in the house. They're like good working cats. So I don't have to constantly fear. And my cats are also not in fear anymore. They go outside to enjoy the sun. They walk around. They have been getting into fighting matches with stray cats because the stray cats notice there's cat food here. So they constantly show up. There's one particular one, and I think it's because I fed it twice, and it was just like, oh, I think she likes me before the cats got here. And I think the cat thought, oh, I guess I can start living here now, and started getting into the house. Then my cats came, and my cats are like, no, this is our house. Who are you and what are you doing here? And started like chasing it. So it comes close enough, but it's not even from this compound. It's like from the neighboring compounds. It comes looking for food. So I've set up a place for it outside where it can come find food. And then now, I think now that it knows there's cats in here, it's going to be okay. I don't know. But I feel like even the quality of life of my cats is going to significantly change. It's easier for them to go enjoy the sun outside. They walk freely. When I open the doors, like I even like keep the back door open for them so they can walk in and out as they please. I leave the window open for them, so whether I'm home or not, I don't have to worry about like what happens if I leave the house for 3 days. Say I've gone to my parents. I'll just leave them food, leave them water, leave their window open so they can still go outside, do their business, still go outside, enjoy the sun, watch the birds. I think this change is good for all of us. I do not regret that project. I don't regret taking on that project, taking on that house. It has taught me so much about myself. I think it was necessary for me. It has challenged me in so many ways. Oh my Lord, I have been challenged. And it has also taught me a lot about people. But at the same time, like I fully acknowledge that I also lost a lot in that house. And so I'm accepting of everything that happened, how it happened, and I'm at peace with it now. I'm still working through the emotions, but I'm at peace because I know the lessons that were there to be learned. And I know the challenges that I dealt with. I know the strengths that I built from it. And I know that now I can apply those things moving forward in this new life, basically. It's like, I think now we're like at Muthoni 4.0. I don't know. I don't even know what version we're at. Is it 3.0 or 4.4? Whichever version of me we're at. For me, as always, I always feel like the person I am right now is the best version of me to ever exist up until this point. So, of course, I know there's better versions of me up ahead. There's cooler versions of me up ahead. But as it stands, with the experiences and the life I have lived, I can say that this is the best version of me to have existed so far. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what this new year holds. I am going to share like a deeper dive into my plans and goals of my recommitting to myself this year in the next episode, because we're going to go further into like the solo dating, like a deep dive into that, a deep dive into loving your own solitude and how to go about that, and the plans that how I plan to build a relationship with myself. So, yeah, I feel like we are a constantly evolving beings, right? We are constantly evolving beings. And for me as a person, I know I always welcome change. I'm very open to change. I am afraid of it. I'm scared of it. But from all the things I've learned in the past is that every single time there's been a change in my life, it has left me as a better person. So having that in mind, I know for sure that great things lie ahead. Yeah, great things lie ahead. And I'm excited to see all the fun things I'm going to do now with, the extra time on my hands. The way I'm rethinking and the way I'm thinking of projects now, like there's been a lot of shifts in how I view things as well, from the lessons that I've learned. So I am really, really looking forward to seeing the conversation we'll be having on the 1st of January 2025. And I can tell you, we're going to have an amazing year. And I'm wishing you an amazing, prosperous, abundant, loving, healthy 2024. May all the things you desire find you. Oh, happy new year. May this year bring forth nothing but joy. May it bring you excitement, adventure, love, pure, genuine love. No BS kind of love, And even if it's not like from the external sources or people around you, may it be from within you. May this year show you that you are worthy, you are enough, you are loved, and you are amazing. Thank you for joining me for this episode, and we can continue deep diving into this recommitment conversation next week. Thank you so much for spending your time here, and I look forward to hanging out with you again in next week's episodes. Thank you so much, and bye, and Happy New Year again.